Wow. Welcome to Target, the show for masculinity and success. And I'm your host, Atlas Aultman, former military commander turned best-selling author, now bringing you a podcast that you can use. We're sharing stories from highly successful men so that you can figure it out for yourself. Welcome. This is Targeted.
All right, Atlas Aultman again, back with another round of Targeted. Today I have with me a guy that I had no idea I had so much in common with. I'm going to introduce him. He goes by BK, but he's Dr. Brian L. Kent, international best-selling author, author of the year, keynote speaker, serial entrepreneur, strategist, investor. He's been at Harvard, Trident like me. He's been in CIO Today. He was the top 10 Inc. 5,000 list twice, entrepreneur of the year. He's got 20 years of experience in uniform, so he's served the nation, and now he's living in Florida. BK, welcome to the show. How are you?
Atlas, I'm having a great day. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, man. So after hearing all of that, how would you introduce yourself?
Well, when you hear it summarized like that, it sounds like a lot.
I get that.
No, I mean, for me, it's every day trying to be successful, trying to help people or businesses be successful. And with that, you get opportunities for personal success, personal goals, and you can always just help people rise to the next level.
When you say personal success, you paused a minute. You paused just for like a quick second. What does personal success mean to you?
Well, I think in life, I'm a serial entrepreneur, father, husband, friend. I have a lot of adopted daughters because I have a single daughter, or I have one daughter. But I think the success for me is every year evaluating where I am, setting goals for that year, because in my mind, people that are successful, they never get there, because once they get there, they set another goal for themselves.
Yeah.
So it's a life journey. And as I talk to people, especially with consulting about work-life balance, I said, there's really no such thing as work-life balance, because what you love doing every day is going to take up most of your life. So if you want to be a father more than you want to work, all that waking time is going to be as a father. If you enjoy technology, like you and I have a common passion for it, you're going to be always looking for a new technology or a new idea to help change the world. So that's kind of how I'd summarize success, is really what in your mind is going to take you to the next level.
I like that aspect. You gave me so much there, but let me pull the thread on this. You said that, it's good to look at it about once a year. I paraphrase you there a little bit. How do you do that? How do you look at where you're at and where you're going, and how often do you do it?
So, actually, as a dedicated effort, my wife and I sit down at the end of every year, or the beginning of the year.
Nice.
And we look at both a personal, professional goal, and then a goal together too. Like, have we scheduled our vacation for the year? I literally just asked her a couple nights ago, okay, do we want to go to Asia next year, or do we want to go to Europe? Right? So, because if you don't start trying to get those big rocks in place, that you just can't get there. And so as I look at that, we do it at the beginning of the year, and then almost like your financial success, you got to look at it quarterly or at least twice a year.
Okay, so you pulled out 3 there. You do that every year? How long have you been doing that with your wife?
It's funny you should say that. I literally was in my inbox on my desk the other day, and I found the one from 2010.
2010.
So at
15
least that
years, at least.
Yeah.
As of the recording of this show, but yeah, that's crazy. You know who else does that?
Who's that?
Grant Cardone and Elena Cardone. They do it every year. They broadcast that they're doing it, and then they publish their goals or whatever, and they say shoot high. Whenever you set a goal or a destination, how hard are you looking at the back end to get there? Like,
wow. So it's funny you should say that's the way Grant does it, because I say shoot for the moon, because if you only get out of the atmosphere, you made a hell of a leap, right? But I think you've got to have, in business we call them stretch goals. You got to have goals that you can make. So if this year we have $100,000, only get to $130,000, that's 30% growth.
Yeah, those
are realistic if you really manage it, or if you control your expenses. There's a lot of things that go into meeting a financial goal. So we set the financial goals, and then part of that too, which I think I've talked to some people about the real estate group I'm with. We say look at your net worth every quarter. Some guys say every month. because if you look at it every month, you can tell if you're growing.
Yeah.
Financially. For physical, you can do that through your strength, right? So I had an injury last year. Took me about 6 months to get over it. And
What was the injury?
so I thought I was having a heart attack.
What?
Really? And yeah. And actually, when I got into the ER, where I had been doing a chest workout, so I'm bench pressing and push-ups and diamond push-ups, down push-ups for a guy my age is not probably recommended. But I had actually pulled the chest muscle. So I thought I was having a heart attack. Doctor comes back. He goes, your readings are good. Let me check something. Starts mashing around on my chest. He hit the spot. I went, oh, that's it right there. And he says, okay, well, good news and bad news. Good news is you're not having a heart attack. Bad news is that's going to take a long time to heal.
Wow. 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months. Just a light workout, and about 3 months ago started back.
Yeah.
But of course, when all you can do is walk for 6 months, you can imagine the upper body atrophy you get.
I understand that. I dislocated my shoulder on the ski slopes once, now 2 years ago, and I still feel it today. It's nuts. But it's the same shoulder I used whenever we were flying around in Afghanistan, and I was holding on to the helicopter before we hit the LZ, and it always jar my shoulder, whatever I had on my back, some kind of tech. Yeah. I was like, ugh. But okay, so you got your financial and your physical and your family goals. Is there anything else that you're looking at?
Well, one of the things my wife and I do is on the family, we always try to include our daughter. Since we only have one child.
How old's your daughter?
She's 32. But what we try to do is we do one vacation for my wife and I, and then one as a family. So sometimes my daughter wants to go to the one that me and my wife want to go to because it may be a new place or whatever. But we always try to do something with the three of us, which turns into being four of us because she always has a girlfriend or some friend that wants to go.
Yeah.
And so that way, then that's where I really get tired, when there's extra people, because the young folks like to run a lot harder than I do at my age on a vacation.
Hey, no.
I like to scuba dive, relax, see a few sites every day. But if you let young people plan it for you, you'll see 6 sites every day instead of 3.
Let me jump in just a little bit farther. For these exercises, how, and percentage-wise, what percentage would you give them out of 100 towards the success of your overall life? Like all those things that I read off. Do you think that that's because of the goal setting that you put in your life, or is it something else? Maybe discipline?
Actually, that was the word I was going to use. I was going to use self-discipline, actually.
Yeah.
I think, Atlas, the key is, a goal without a plan, you can't get there. And it just like losing weight. Only you can control the spoon or the glass, right?
Yeah.
For your finances. Now, I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I've had my losses with my wins, right? Because I am aggressive when I go after some things, and some things I think will work that won't. But I say, as long as my next high is not as low as my last valley, I'm okay. As long as I'm keeping the climb. And I think the key is knowing when to pause, knowing when to take a knee, like we used to say in the military, right? Take a knee, assess the situation. So sometimes you have to just stop. What am I doing wrong? Because I'm not meeting the metrics I've set for myself. And it's not the self-discipline, because you could keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And then we'll say that's insanity, right? Because if it's not going the direction you want it to go. So I think if you really look at self-discipline and goal setting and measuring, because if we don't check the direction we're heading, as you and I both know, a very small percentage on azimuth for a short distance doesn't matter. For a long distance, it does.
Yeah. So back to the measuring. I mean, we talked about that just a little bit ago, but you're checking at least once a month.
Yeah.
Whenever you find out that you're maybe off track, what do? Is it now? And before you answer that, let me set this up a little bit more. Is it something that you take on yourself, or is it something that you involve a team member? And I know it's going to be it depends answer, but like predominantly whenever this has happened, because it happens to all of us.
Well, one thing I learned from one of my mentors, General Garrison, or after Somalia, the movie Black Hawk Down, he said, let's get rid of all the policies. And the one policy is, in all case, use your best judgment. As a leader, and if it's your goal and you're a leader or you're accountable, you have to assess the situation yourself and with people if it's a joint goal or a team goal. But as an individual, you are responsible. I've made the joke too many times to count, Atlas. The best thing that ever happened to me was retiring from the Army, and the worst thing that ever happened was retiring from the Army. In the Army, they kept me, but in the like the bumper pool lanes, right, or the bowling alley. But now I'm free to roam wherever I think I need to go to be successful. Sometimes if I get off course, I got to put myself back on course. And I think that self-discipline and then the leadership style that I have makes me self-assess probably harder on myself than probably others would do.
I like that. Let me add some things in here that people don't know anything about. And you had Mr. D in your life. Mr. Donnelly is now.
Oh yeah, Donnelly, yeah.
Or he passed recently, but he used to make us bring horse blankets. Remember those?
I remember those. Yeah.
So for the audience, the horse blanket is a large piece of paper that tracked all of our goals over 5 to 10 years in the special operations world. So all the things that we were doing, we would bring in these horse blankets and all get on the same page, if you will.
Synchronized.
It was all getting on Mr. Donnelly's page in some cases. But do you find things like that, like your mentor and the structure that the military gave you, do you find that in your everyday life still today?
So I was blessed, Atlas. I was around senior leaders most of my career, or I was around senior NCOs that were given the authority to move and make decisions. That allowed me to assess throughout my military career both a geopolitical strategy or a strategy we needed for success. And when I was not in SOF or special operations, and I was in the conventional Army, sometimes you take that and break it back down to the basics. Because I always found that you had to train your weakest link to bring the whole team up.
Yeah.
You can't cut him away or her away. And so as I look at that leadership style, I look at the accountability. It's I think it's the say, are you born with it or do you learn it?
Yeah, that's the common question, isn't it?
I think some people have the dynamic capability to adjust because they just do. But I think some people pick it up faster than others do. It's just like education. Sometimes people need it 4, 5, 6 times, and then some students have it.
Yeah. It's always something you can learn, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
As long as you apply it. A lot of people learn, but they don't apply.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Have you
That's
seen
business,
that?
right?
Yeah, have you seen that a lot? I know you do consulting work.
Yes.
And you've probably come into businesses where they just want to be told that they're doing what they need to be doing. And then, how much does that cost for you to tell me that I'm doing okay? Because
depends on what you ask me to do, right?
Right.
So if I'm coming in, let's say a business is, say, plateaued.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just need to come in and you need to do a cursory look. I mean, in my book, The R Factor, I talk about the people, the sales department, the operations department, and the finance department. But most importantly, it's all the silent partners too. The banks, the lawyers, the municipalities, the state, the federal government. All those people get a vote on your business.
Yeah.
So I usually do my analysis or my costs based on what you need fixed. Some people say I do kind of turnaround work because people are plateauing or kind of dipping. They need me to kind of help fine tune it so I can come in for 3 months or 6 months. The key thing to that is identifying, and I tell people when, I want to talk to the owner or the senior management, you're bringing me in to tell you if you have an ugly baby or not. Mm-hmm. Some people don't like to hear they have an ugly baby.
Yeah.
Or in the small and mid-sized companies that I work with, it's the person has an entrepreneur spirit. He has the aggressiveness, but he's never been at the next level.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're a serial entrepreneur, you can learn this. If it's your first time, it's hard to learn because there's a big difference in being a $1 million company and a $20 million company.
Yeah.
Because at a certain point, the company's no longer about you, the one guy. It's a machine that you have to drive. Then it turns into an aircraft carrier group that you have to manage.
Yeah.
So you have to be clear in that as you look at it, Atlas, to make those goals and those decisions work.
BK, I got invited into this group. It's called Elite CEOs, and it's for people at the 1 million mark and above. to get to the 100 million mark. So it's a community, and communities are blossoming everywhere. And one of the things they talked about was the assessment that you just said. He said you need somebody to come in and actually give you an outside look because you get so involved in your business.
And you plateau.
Yeah, and you don't know what to look for. You need the outsider questions, the outsider look to make it grow. But the one thing that I always seem to find every time I do this is it's in the leadership. It's always in the leadership bucket where someone's hiding something because they're just afraid of the truth sometimes.
Well, another common thing I see too is we start it with our friend or a family member or or a couple of friends get together. And the one guy now that was a great accountant, but he's not really ready to take it to the next level where he needs to go out and raise money. He needs to go out and handle the financing.
Yeah.
Or an operations guy that's great at doing projects, but he's not good at managing a portfolio. Different skill sets.
Yeah.
Some guys rise, but if you're not ready to, even as the owner and CEO, to step back and maybe be a chairman, then you need to evaluate where you're at with your company. I'm not saying you need to, because some people, like I said, they pick it up and they can adapt. But when you get to those areas, like I said, you take a pause or take a knee, you do need a mentor.
Yeah.
In small companies, a lot of places, they forget boards of advisory or boards of advisors. That's sometimes free mentorship or low-cost mentorship because you're bringing in a person, man or woman, that has the experience on where you want to go. And that helps you.
Yeah. I'm going to dive back to our military time. So when I was at the Naval War College, I wrote a piece on joint mentorship because every one of the branches of the military does it differently. And what I found was the Coast Guard and the Marines actually had it down. They looked like entrepreneurs at who could do the job and who was the expert. Not necessarily who was assigned to do the job, but who could do it. And then that person became a mentor. And a mentor could be at the peer level or higher than you or even lower than you. You just have to have the ability to listen a lot of times. And that was my whole thesis with that. Are you seeing that people actually want to listen whenever they're exposed to their problems? Or is that something that you have to get over as like a hurdle?
I see it both.
Yeah.
I see both. One of the things that I ran into when I was working with a company, about 10 years ago, I had this young guy coming in the office. He had been at DARPA for a couple of years. And he's coming in about 10 o'clock. I'd been working with the company for a little while. And I said, "Oh, you're just dragging in today." And the young kid goes, "Well, this is as soon as my mom could bring me to work." Well, of course, that struck me odd. So I said, "How old are you?" And he goes, "Oh, I just turned 16. I don't have my driver's license yet." He had already been working for the government 3 years, top secret clearance. I'm dating this a little bit, so this may be 10 or 15 years ago. He was a cloud expert.
Wow.
And at that time, it didn't matter how old you were.
With too many cloud experts.
Guys this age were the ones training all the old guys.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's kind of like, now it's, you have your grandmother and you got your daughter helping her with her iPhone or her Samsung, right?
Dude, there's still not a lot of cloud experts. I mean, AWS just went down and it crushed my business for like 15, 16 hours because everything I do that's tied to Amazon Web Services, it was on pause. So I had to look for workarounds. I felt like I was in the military again. Coming up with a plan, but he was 16.
He was 16 and it just blew my mind. And of course, I work with another government agency now too. They had interns this year, and another young lady blew me away. She's going to George Washington University, 18 years old, top secret clearance.
Yeah,
has already done an internship at DIA or the Defense Intelligence Agency. This is her second federal internship. She's 18 and is about a rising junior.
Have you seen the studies where they're saying if your kid gets great grades, they're already being approached by 3-letter agencies in the government?
Especially if they can walk and chew gum.
Yeah. Well, and middle school, apparently, like they're already being courted in a lot of schools around America.
And this young lady spoke 3 languages.
See, that's nuts.
Yes, I'm sure a government agency was courting her.
Yeah.
But I think the big thing, is the communication.
Okay.
When you go into a company, the communication across departments has to be clear from the leadership and the mid-level. And one of the things I tell people is when you're looking at your sales cycle, you're looking at your operations cycle or your finance cycle, everybody needs a buy-in. And I tell people a lot, if you're looking at like federal contractors, don't tell me about my bonus in December. I've been in this business 30 years, 40 years now.
Yeah.
The government shutdowns or the continuing resolutions are every year. I mean, right now we're in the middle of a shutdown.
Yeah.
So to talk to me about a bonus in the first quarter when the government's not open to even buy anything,
Right.
don't talk to me about my bonus. Look at the buying cycles and even the commercial market. Look at the buying cycles of your customers. They change. So I find that communication has to be clear between the employees, the mid-level manager, and the ownership or the leadership. And I say, make it so clear that at the end of the quarter, when they're coming to see you, they know to bring their box or they're coming to get a check. If it's that clear, we're going to scale.
That's good. Yeah. Well, that's a big, important step that a lot of people don't get to. All right. Let me dive into your books a little bit. You got Author of the Year for which book?
For the R Factor.
The R Factor.
R Factor, scaling your business through relationship management. It goes back to, like I was just talking about, as I go into a company, I look at it, do we have the right people in the right seat? And I work with companies. If you go back and look at how you've hired your people, you'll find the weaknesses in the people you've hired. Not because they're weak, but because we didn't define exactly what we wanted them to do.
Yeah.
Once we identify that, now we identify, is it a company problem to fix that education gap, or what should the employee have had that education? That way you can have an adult discussion. Should I pay for that, or should you be going to school at night to fix that? Once I identify if we got the right butts in the right seats, then I'll look at the same thing for business development. I've found for entrepreneurs that salespeople are great at telling you they're going to sell. And most entrepreneurs and owners don't know how to put metrics around them. So you have to, most business people understand the 2x2 matrix. So the 2x2 matrix is current customer, current bit capability, current customer, new capability, new customer, current capability, new customer, new capability. If I break your sales cycle down and your sales guy is fishing in the wrong quadrant, he's never going to be there, but he'll burn up a lot of money playing golf, taking clients out for lunch, and all this because he hadn't found the right person. And I always tell most of the salespeople I deal with, 80% of your job is done before you get to the meeting. If you don't know how we're going to sell to them, how they're going to buy, and how to become a friend with them, we don't, as the old said, we don't buy from our enemies, right? And the sales guys that are really successful, they build friendships, they build relationships. So as I look at the company, I say do a 360 of the relationships in the company, and then let's do a 360 of the relationships outside the company, because we might have somebody in operations that has a much stronger relationship with somebody we want to sell to than a sales guy, and the two of them together make a powerful team.
Yeah, those connections aren't often drawn until they're actually looked at. So that's huge. Whenever you're doing this assessment, do you have them do a peer assessment on each other? Is that part of the process?
I haven't done the peer piece because most of the time when I'm coming in,
That'd probably be like, Arr.
Well, you find those guys without doing a peer assessment.
Yeah.
Right? Because the accountability you're going to find is employees go, well, John never tells me what we're supposed to be doing. Or what his goal is. So then I can have an adult discussion with John, or I can have an adult discussion with John's boss. Or if it's the owner or the leader or whatever, I can have that discussion. That nobody in the company knows what you want. It needs to be clear. We need to have communication. And for especially, I'm not going to pick on engineers today, but I'm going to say introverted type people, they have a challenge with that. Sometimes they can't, they know what they want, but they don't know how to say it. And then another thing too is they don't have a type A personality either to kind of direct. So when you find those, they're all up and down the organization. And you just have to start the communication. And some people never want to leave their cubicle, but they need to get up and go down the hall to talk to the finance lady or finance guy that's the project analyst. Hey, cost of this has went up. You need to know. So, yeah.
That's huge. And it's probably pays dividends.
It does. It does. So and I get companies that call me and say, this is where I'm at. And I'm going, ooh, you should have called somebody a year ago.
Yeah.
I had a guy call me one time and he says, I heard you might could help me turn my company around. And I'm going, okay, well, let's talk about your company. He said, well, I was doing 10 million and I had like 55 people. So, okay, how long ago was that? He goes, about 18 months ago. I said, how many do you have now? He said, I got 3.
3 million or 3 people?
3 people.
Oh, man. That's nuts.
I said, can you afford to pay yourself, much less talk to me about
Right.
turning your company around? I said, you need to do an assessment if you want to really rebuild or if you want to find something else to do, because you have to, if you went from 50 to 3
Yeah, it's over.
as the owner or the manager, you were doing something wrong or you were asleep at the wheel. And that's part of that ugly baby syndrome, right? You had an ugly baby and you were denying it all the way to the bottom.
For sure. For sure. All right. You've got a lot of experience with this now. If you can go back and tell yourself when you first started this journey, anything, what would that piece of advice be?
First of all, if you're in a job and you don't like it, leave it.
Leave it.
Life is too short. If you like what you're doing, you'll have a passion for what you're doing. And even if you're making less now, you'll make more in the long run. Because you'll put the heart, was the movie, I forget the name of the movie, is where the football players came in and it was the quarterback. He was missing his heart, right?
Yeah.
And I've found if you're passionate, you'll get to the money you need to be happy. You'll get to the relationships you need to be happy. Because if you're frustrated, it's the saying, the person was unhappy. They came home and kicked the dog bit the cat. The whole, it just rolls downhill. Everybody's unhappy.
Butterfly effect.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I've found one thing I learned, be happy. Goes back to take a knee and adjust your course if you have to. Second thing is, and I've learned this the hard way, unfortunately, if you want to do something, get the basic education or the baseline education you need to do it. I'm not saying if you want to sell real estate, go be a realtor.
Yeah.
But learn all the functions of buying and selling real estate.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a technologist, learn all the different things and the laws of physics that affect you. If you want to learn something, we want to make sure that we understand where we're going. And then therefore, if we get the baseline education we need, it makes the pain level when we have mistakes, we say, ooh, I didn't really refine that the right way. Or maybe I didn't know that, but I know it now. But you can learn quicker because major mistakes are hard to overcome.
When you say you can learn quicker, how do you do that? Do you find people to help you, or are you looking online? How do you do it?
I think all of the above.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you have to do your research, online, read, all the things that come with knowledge, right? Like my other book, Knowledge, Empowerment, Networking, and Tenacity. If you get the knowledge you need, then now you're empowered to start making the baby steps. It goes back to the CEOs and the owners I was talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. They know how to sell what they're doing now, or they know how to do it. But as the company grows, now we've got tax issues. Mm-hmm. We've got more employee issues. Yeah. You have other issues that you need the education. And you can't always trust the person you hire. There needs to be conversation there. Because in the end, if you're the owner or the senior manager, you are responsible, whether the HR person does it right or not.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknowns there, and you got to be able to learn it all if you're an entrepreneur.
Or at least know how to ask the questions and not be embarrassed to ask them.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people say this, and I'm gonna steal it. I say it too. Whenever you get to a certain level, you have to find people that are going to be the experts in things that you can never be the expert in.
Well, that's when you look at the E-Myth, you got the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician. Michael Gerber said you can be 2 of those, but you can't be all 3.
Right.
So you got to figure out where you fit in the circle or in the stool and hire the people that can be what you're not so that you can continue to scale.
I love that. You read my book too. That's in my book. I didn't give him credit. I said it different though.
Well, it's the E-Myth Revisited, which is a multi-million-dollar seller, and a lot of people, I tell the 2 books that I was recommended before I started consulting was the E-Myth Revisited and the Dream Manager. If you learn the structure of your business and how it's supposed to work, you learn how to take care of your people.
Yeah.
It'll take the business to start taking care of itself.
I love that. All right. One final question.
Okay.
What's your favorite quote and why?
Ooh, probably a quote that I use more than once a month is failure to make a decision is a decision. Only you delegate it to somebody else to make for you.
Yeah. Pull that apart for me. When did you start saying that?
As I started, oh man,
I've
watched it for years. In the military, sometimes you have guys that are risk averse, and those leaders are like, they're afraid they're getting fired, or the zero tolerance. In corporate America, guys they want 100% of the data before they'll make a decision. I mean, I just see it over and over again. And I tell people, if you're responsible, it goes back to General Garrison's comment. If you can tell me why you made the decision and what you thought through, he would fight for you all the way to the end. If you couldn't and you just made a decision, or you didn't make a decision, let somebody else make it, then he held you accountable. That may mean you might be on, washing dishes.
Sure.
You might be, shipped to another unit or whatever, but you knew, take a few seconds and let's get it right.
Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah, doing that is so important. No, it brings back when I was working as a personal communicator for President Obama. I heard him say it multiple times. Whenever things come to this desk, it's a hard decision to make. Whenever things come to you, they seem to be very hard decisions to make too. So whenever you look at that, is there a grace that you give them, or can you empathize with them during that process of not making a decision? Because usually that's what screws up most businesses, in my personal experience.
I think that, or what I try to talk about even with my employees, come to me as soon as you're not sure. Get help when you're not sure, because in the technology business, I mean, I know you've heard this, bring it to us when you have it at about a 60% solution.
Yeah.
So we can help you get it to the finish line.
Yeah.
If I can get everybody to do that with every task they got, we don't need them to be 100% right. We need them to be right, and where the rest of the team can get in and help them row.
Right.
Then we get more stuff right.
Yeah, you don't have to make the right decision. You just have to make the decision right sometimes.
That's right.
I love that. Well, BK, thanks for coming in, man. I appreciate you flying into Atlanta.
No, this has been great. Appreciate the time with you today, Atlas.
Want to give anybody a shout out? You want to give your daughter a shout out?
No, I'm just I'm proud of both my daughter and my wife. She runs her own company. And Allison, she's down in Tampa working full time. I've been doing some shift work, but they're doing great work for God and country. But no, I just appreciate everybody that works with me. I can't do it by myself. I mean, I write books. I'm helping people with real estate. I'm helping people with their businesses. But I like to build the team, right? And it goes back. It's kind of my little tagline. It's with the CANT methodology, there's nothing you can't do. Because if we give people knowledge, help them with their knowledge, we empower them to make decisions, empower them to move forward, let them use their network and our network to become better, and they say move out with tenacity, you can win.
I love that. That's so good. All right, where can people find you?
Some of the website is www.brianlkent.com. On LinkedIn, most of the social medias, I'm at Brian L. K. or Brian L. Kent. Mm-hmm. On Amazon, it's Brian L. Kent, PhD. If you want to pick up one of the books, I've got 4 books out there. If you want something to motivate you every day, you can pick up the CANT methodology book. It's got a quote for every day, 12 different leadership traits for 30 days.
That's amazing. Again, thank you so much for coming on, sharing all this stuff. You're an amazing person with a whole bunch of accolades, and you just dropped some knowledge on our community. So I just want to say thank you.
Oh, absolutely. No, I really enjoyed it. Thanks for everything.
All right. Yeah. Well, if you're a first timer, this is what you can expect. We want you to shoot for excellence and aim for greatness and stay on target. I'm Atlas Aultman. Thank you so much for coming by.
Stay with us as we stay on target with another awesome episode coming up next. We'll see you there. And subscribe to Targeted Now. As an ambassador to buckedup.com, I get to give you our special discount. That's Atlas25 when you go to buckedup.com to get that special discount. Only for our listeners, Atlas25. Go to buckedup.com now.